is up, Galaxians? Welcome once again to Galaxy CD's Rocks and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. My name is Ryan, and this show is going to be a little bit different. There's not really much reselling news to talk about. eBay made a couple of really brief announcements encouraging people to petition Congress to change the 1099 regulations, and then they also partnered once again this year with TaxAct to assist eBay sellers with their taxes, but that's really all that's been going on. So there really wasn't much to do with reselling news. If you follow me over on Instagram at Galaxy CDs Rocks, I talked about over there. Last week was fairly slow. I've gotten feedback from a few other sellers that they are also experiencing a bit of a slowdown post-holiday. People are getting their credit card bills and whatnot from the holidays, and things are just a little slow. So there's not really a ton of what sold. So I'm going to take this opportunity to, as I did last year at about this time, take a little mental health break. I talk on this show off and on, and have done so over probably the 4 years or whatever this show has run, about the importance of maintaining your mental health. And that's especially true for resellers because this is a fairly solitary business. Like, I spend 6 or 8 hours a day in my basement by myself processing books and doing orders and whatnot. And there's not a lot of social interaction, and it can get to be kind of a grind. And then you add in the holiday season and trying to do a weekly episode of this podcast and the research that goes into that, and on and on and on. And you get to a point where last year I got, as I mentioned in an episode, I got it in myself into a pretty bad state. And I don't want to do that this year. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break. This will be the extent of this show this week. It'll probably be like 5 minutes. And then next week, I'm going to take the week off. If eBay happens to introduce their winter seller update at some point in the next couple of weeks, I will do kind of an emergency episode to cover that, because that will be big news, assuming there's anything in it of value, at least. But other than that, I'm going to take this week and at least next week off, and maybe the week after that as well, and try to get my feet back under me and to get ready, get geared up for what hopefully will be a good closeout to winter and getting into spring. So I just wanted to encourage everyone to do what you need to do. I've talked about this previously, and I talk about goals all the time. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine last week about defining what your end goal is and the things that are really important. And then the things that don't align with that sometimes are things that have to go by the wayside. And right now, continuing to do my work where I actually make my living, as opposed to this podcast, which does not pay me very much, if anything at all, it makes more sense to pursue that and spend my time and my mental energy over there than working on this. So I'm going to take that step back for a couple or 3 weeks here, try to get myself reinvigorated and back into a better place. And I will be back in a few weeks. I hope all of you are doing well. Thank you, as always, for spending, in this case, just a very few minutes with me this week. And now it's time to sell. Thanks, guys. You have been listening to the Galaxy CDs Rocks and Flips Reseller Talk podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you again next time.